Welcome to Vault Forward, Climate Vault's video series dedicated to helping you navigate your climate action journey. I'm Lindsay, and today we're diving into 10 things that you should know about California's Climate Accountability Package. So let's jump in. The Climate Accountability Package includes two new California laws that are designed to enhance transparency and accountability. First is SB 253, or the Climate Corporate Data Accountability Act. And second is SB 261, or the Climate-Related Financial Risk Act. They require organizations to disclose their climate change-related threats, measures being taken to address those risks, and public reporting of greenhouse gas emissions. These laws are a significant step in the trend of shifting away from voluntary to mandatory reporting on climate. Second thing to know, SB 253 is the first bill in the United States to successfully mandate Scope 1, 2, and 3 disclosure. This is significant considering Scope 3 emissions may account for 90% of an organization's climate impact and are notoriously difficult to measure. So think about what this means when we're talking about California, a state whose economy is barreling toward becoming the fourth largest in the world. Requiring measurement of Scope 3 will include capturing GHG data on the supply chain of these regulated companies. Now, the suppliers may not be directly regulated by the law, but if they want to continue doing business with their customers who are subject to the law, they are likely going to have to start measuring and disclosing their GHG data as well. And this is a policy lever that we're seeing emerging in other global ESG regulations, such as the EU's Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, which together is expected to cause a ripple effect of climate accountability throughout the global economy, and we welcome it. Third thing to know, both laws apply to US-based organizations doing business in California that meet certain annual gross revenue thresholds. For 253, that's annual revenues greater than $1 billion, and for 261, it's $500 million. Fourth, doing business in California isn't clearly defined within the law. However, many are currently interpreting the definition in alignment with the State of California Franchise Tax Board, which means that the bar for doing business in California may not be that high. According to the tax board, it would mean meeting certain criteria around transactions, being domiciled in California, or meeting certain sales, property, or payroll thresholds. Number 5, SB 253 requires an emissions inventory in alignment with the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, as well as limited and reasonable assurance on emissions disclosures. Compliance starts in 2026 for Scopes 1 and 2 based on 2025 emissions, and in 2027, organizations will need to report on their 2026 Scope 3 emissions. If your organization is subject to the law, you're going to need to hire a third-party auditor to provide assurance on your GHG measurement. Now, these laws come with a new degree of scrutiny from the public and your assurance providers that we just haven't seen previously with sustainability reporting in the US. So because of this, and I really want to stress, you're going to want to think of, manage, and report your climate data with the same degree of rigor that you treat your financial data disclosures with. Number 6, SB 261 requires disclosures to be in alignment with the recommendations of the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures Framework and must also include measures taken to mitigate and adapt to these risks. The TCFD framework focuses on 4 pillars of how organizations operate: governance, strategy, risk management, and metrics and targets. It poses a set of questions to make climate-related disclosures more consistent and easily compared amongst different organizations. 7, both laws come with hefty noncompliance fines. For 261, that includes penalties of up to $50,000 per reporting year, and for 253, financial penalties can reach up to $500,000 per reporting year. Number 8, there remains much to be fleshed out in the implementation regulations for SB 253. The California Air Resources Board, or CARB, is tasked with the implementation of these laws and has until January 1st, 2025 to establish clarifying regulations. That is a really tight turnaround for complex regulations that need to be developed with significant public stakeholder engagement. And Governor Newsom has also signaled concerns about the tight timeline and cost to businesses for both laws. And that raises questions about feasibility. It's also estimated that CARB needs approximately $9 million in implementation funds for the bills this year And interestingly, this was not included in the recently released January 2024 budget. It remains to be seen if the proposed updated May 2024 budget will include the implementation funding. 9. As of February 2024, legal challenges have already emerged for the two laws, as some organizations led by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the American Farm Bureau Federation are claiming that forced speech on climate disclosures are a violation of the First Amendment and that California is presuming the role of a national emissions regulator. Regardless of the resistance to these laws, they do have key support from major businesses who will be subject to them, including Salesforce, Adobe, Microsoft, and IKEA, all of which publicly advocated for the bills and submitted letters of support during their development. And lastly, you need to be preparing now. If you're impacted, start gathering data for compliance in 2026 for your 2025 data. This means if you're not already reporting on your emissions or climate-related risks, you need to spend 2024 getting your systems, processes, and controls in place. On the other hand, if your organization has already been actively measuring and mitigating its climate risks and impacts, then these disclosure laws are just one more way to highlight your accomplishments. And if you're new to measuring scope 1, 2, or 3 emissions, then Climate Vault is here to help you get started so you can disclose with confidence and start implementing tangible climate action strategies. So, what do you think of the climate accountability package? Do you have predictions on the legal battle outcomes? Are you a supplier caught up in the regulations indirectly? We want to know. And if you're looking for more information on how these laws are rewriting the rules for climate reporting, be sure to check out our article linked in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time for another edition of Vault Forward.